Hey there, everyone. I have been reflecting on my slideshow presentation that I'm going to be sharing with my astrology students this weekend, connecting the 7 Hermetic Principles to certain concepts within astrology. And I was thinking about sharing it with you all as well because it helps me practice. And I just think it's good general information for us to keep in mind when we're exploring any kind of spiritual or esoteric or occult information. It gives us these different hues or lenses in which to view these concepts from. So the first Hermetic principle is the principle of mentalism, which is all is mind. And this is kind of simple, yet also really complex, and I feel like we can meditate on this deeply over the course of our lives. But it's basically stating that the universe is mental and everything exists within the mind of the all. So it's all interconnected, it's all synced together, and at the end of the day, you can view all of these experiences, all of these archetypes, all of these stories as one grand story, right? It's all one at the end of the day. So, like I said, that's kind of complex, yet it can be simple. But when we look at all the rest of the principles, it kind of all keeps playing back into this main principle of mentalism, which is the first one. So the second one is the principle of correspondence. A lot of people know this one, as above, so below. It's really kind of a big deal with astrology because the planets are, outside of us. They're way out here, and sometimes it's hard for us to understand how or why they may be causing such a ripple effect to us humans here on the earth. But everything that's happening outside of us, out in the heavens or just in our external world, is also interconnected to what's going on within us. So, humanity is in symbiotic relationship with the planets, and so we affect the planets and the planets affect us. So as above, so below, as below, so above. So you can use this principle when studying a lot of different spiritual concepts, and just keep it in mind, keep it in the back of your mind when you're reading certain spiritual truths or information, because it really gives us a lens to kind of bounce that concept off of. So it also gives us more meaning, I think, within our everyday life, our choices and our actions. They actually have this greater effect that sometimes we have a hard time understanding. It seems like we're just these small, basic, it doesn't matter what we do, we're not that important. But actually, if you look at it from this particular principle, we are really important. Our actions are important, because as below, so above. So they're also affecting that greater story outside of ourselves, and we are important characters in that story. So the third principle is the principle of vibration. It states that nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. This can definitely connect in with the planetary energies as a whole. Each planet has its own particular vibration or frequency, a specific resonance. And we do too. And so those vibrations are directly impacting us. And when we live in a certain amount of harmony with the energies around us, I feel like it's almost like we can receive these different frequencies in a more graceful way. But whether you believe in it or not, you are walking through the world, you are experiencing different frequencies throughout your day, and each person you meet, each planet, each sound, everything has its own particular vibration, and nothing is just a still, meaningless thing, every rock, every stone, every creature, every animal has a particular vibration, and the planets have a unique vibration as well. So the fourth principle is the principle of polarity. Everything is dual. This is absolutely a big thing when we are looking at the natal chart. We can see it within oppositions in the chart. So if two planets are sitting opposite each other, there tends to be kind of this back and forth, this tug of war between the two. I'm going to keep reading about this polarity. So everything is dual, everything has poles, everything has its pair of opposites. Like and unlike are the same. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree. Extremes meet. All truths are half-truths. All paradoxes may be reconciled. So when we're dealing with things like oppositions, the key is to find that nice fulcrum in the middle between the two extremes. This can also come into play when we're looking at opposite houses or opposite signs, Aries and Libra, for example. They have a lot in common, right? Let's just pull the concept of dependency. So we have Aries tends to be more independent on the spectrum, and Libra tends to be more codependent on the spectrum. But they're both dealing with the concept of dependency. So it's actually the same. It's just two versions or two extremes of that overall concept, right? And we have this with all of the sister signs. They have certain things in common, but we're just dealing with them from two opposing perspectives. And it actually is when we can bring them together and integrate them that they work in harmony with one another and bring us into a really balanced state within the two poles. The next one is the principle of rhythm. Everything flows out and in. Everything has its tides. All things rise and fall. The pendulum swing manifests in everything. The measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. Rhythm compensates. So rhythm comes into mind when thinking about the transits, how the planets actually are moving and dancing, and how we are moving and dancing through life. And nothing is still, right? Everything is flowing. And I really like thinking about rhythm when it comes to when we're in a really challenging place within our lives, we can trust in this pendulum swing back. So we may be going through like a dark night of the soul or a really deep, intense experience, but we can always trust that the tides will turn, the planets will move, we will evolve, we will grow, and there will be a lighter period of integration, because nothing is still, right? It's always changing, it's always evolving, and the cycles are always shifting. Even though sometimes it doesn't feel like it. It feels like, oh, it's like, how much longer, right? But we're always making some kind of movements. So we can trust that it will always go swing back to the other direction. The sixth principle is cause and effect. Every cause has its effect. Every effect has its cause. Everything happens according to law. Chance is but a name for law not recognized. There are many planes of causation, but nothing escapes law. So this particular principle is bringing up some Saturn energy here, and making me think of things like karma, because a lot of the more challenging transits that we go through are not only shaping us, but maybe direct effect of something that we've done. So it's kind of like reaping what we sow. As we really step onto our more spiritual path and start to respond instead of react to certain transits or certain experiences, it's like we're able to move through it all a lot more gracefully. Like, it doesn't always have to be these really extreme lessons, you know. I can say, oh, okay, I can see how this is actually relevant to something that I really needed to learn and may actually be the effect of a choice that I made in the past. Coming back for me to look at it from a higher perspective, to respond differently this time, right? The last one, the seventh one, is gender. So it states that gender is in everything. Everything has its masculine and feminine principles. Gender manifests on all planes. So when it comes to gender in the chart, you know, we have the concepts of yin and yang energy within certain signs. The air and fire signs are known to be more masculine or yang in their nature. They're more active. The earth and water signs are more feminine in their nature. They're known to be more receptive. So, you know, it is playing in with the signs as a whole. And so we can kind of keep those in mind when we are studying the zodiac signs, and the planets also have gender within them. But this is stating that everything has both. And so, you know, we don't want to view anything as just like all yang or all yin. It's actually like a combination. So, and it also ties into, you know, Jung's anima and animus, which is, just because we have a female expression, it doesn't mean that there's not a masculine energy within that expression that can be cultivated, that brings it back into a state of balance. So that's just my little quick deep dive into exploring the Hermetic Principles and how they pertain to astrology and help us view it through a different lens. And it may be helpful, it may not. So it's up to you if you want to include them into your practice. But anyways, thanks for listening, and I hope you all have a great day.